Hi everyone. Thank you for your patience with these readings. I know I didn't do an energy for Soulmates Twin Flames last week. There have been a lot of big things happening in my life, and I wasn't really in a place to do that. This Venus retrograde time that's happened, now we're in Venus retrograde in Libra. It went back into Libra. It will be going direct on November 16th. Jupiter just moved into Sagittarius. We have the new moon on the 7th. We'll also have the North nodes moving into Cancer on the 16th. A lot of planet shifts are going on. A lot of changes are happening. A lot of endings, a lot of new beginnings. The people upstairs are being really loud, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. Like, they're being all super extra loud. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, so all of that energy has really been happening with me too. Like a lot of endings, a lot of beginnings. And I kind of had to take a week and just do personal readings. I am working on the soulmate readings for signs as well, like the general soulmate readings for each sign. Those will all be out this week, probably on Thursday. So yeah. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to look into the energy for the Divine Feminine for this week and see what's going on with the Divine Feminine. Yeah, intuition. And this is kind of a running theme right now. So we have Listen, which is the High Priestess in the traditional tarot. I feel like with this card, this is really about going inward and listening to yourself, first and foremost, before anything else. And I think that we're all coming to a place, I say we, because I resonate with the Divine Feminine more than I do the Divine Masculine side of me, even though I can really tap into both energies really well. I always resonate with the Divine Feminine more. This is pulling back. And this is allowing yourself to really listen to what your soul is guiding you to do instead of needing the outside world for validation, right? And I think a lot of us are doing that. And if you're feeling really lost right now and you're not really sure what direction you're supposed to go in or what you're supposed to be doing in your life or with your twin flame or with your soulmate or who's going to be with me, this, and this, you cannot control all of the energy. What you can do is control how you react to all of the energy that's going on and how you react to other people around you. And I want to say that the biggest thing is for you to react in love, because we're coming from a place of being really, really brokenhearted right now. So we have the Emperor, Three of Swords, and the Knight of Swords, and the High Priestess. If there is some kind of communication, if there's something that needs to be said to somebody, I want you to not come from a place of ego, but sit with it. Like, I want you to be quiet with whatever you need to say, because I feel like a lot of you are really, really hurting right now, Divine Feminines, because of endings that have had to happen. And you have to recognize when we have endings in our life, it's for a reason. Or when we have to end things in our life, it's for a reason. If there was something that was said to you that really broke your heart, I kind of want to say, it's time for you to sit with it and find out what those triggers are and put a name to those triggers in order for you to heal whatever it was that was kind of thrown at you from somebody who was not centered when they brought that, right? I think also some of you really want to say things. And I want you to come from a place of peace and not from a place of bitterness and anger and rage. And so then we also have the Four of Wands and the Two of Swords. And I think a lot of the reason why there are so many divine feminines that are in a lot of pain and are hurt right now is because promises were made. You know, there were things that were said and promises were made, and we're going to be happy and we're going to be in union, because the Four of Wands is the union card, right? There's something that you're missing here. I feel like this Four of Wands is going to be found elsewhere. I feel like a lot of you are recognizing that the stuff that's hurt you in the past, that you still may be healing from, has to be left in the past, because there are new things coming. But with the Two of Swords, you're not really seeing it. It's like some of you have to see it to believe it. Like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And that's not having faith. I feel like if you were to sit within yourself, sit within your intuition, and be quiet and come from a place of peace instead of a place of anger and bitterness and sadness. And I'm not lecturing. I'm saying, actually, what's worked for me, like literally this has worked for this, like what I'm telling you, this is exactly what I had to do. There was a lot of pain, and there were words, and there were promises, and there were things that were said. And then when I had to pull away and came to a place of peace, that's where I found my Four of Wands. Because a lot of times we feel like the Four of Wands has to be a location, it has to be a house, it has to be with a certain person. And it's really a peace within yourself. Because when you're at home with yourself, you can live anywhere. You can be anywhere. You can do anything. As long as you're at peace as long as you're at peace with yourself, you're at home. Right? Where they say home is where the heart is. Well, sometimes if there's not other people around you, you have to find your own heart, and you have to find your own home within your heart, right? So let's see what this Emperor is, this Emperor energy is. And right now, you know, we talk about how the veil is so thin right now between the 3D world and the spiritual world. What does that mean? That means it's very easy to contact your spirit guides. It's very easy to get in touch with your ancestors. It's very easy for your intuition to be heightened. But in order to get there, you have to utilize the energy to be able to do it. And the way you do it is you get quiet. Because when there's so much chaos going on and there's so much noise on the outside, you can't hear. You can't hear yourself think, right? This world is so busy. Our lives are so busy. We're constantly running and going and doing and blah, 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 you know? But when you shut up and you stop moving, just sit with yourself. And, you know, I've talked about this before. It can be very uncomfortable to sit with yourself, because then all those things come up. All those things that you didn't want to deal with. The hurt from the past. That person shows up in your mind. That thought process shows up in your mind. That situation shows up in your mind. Those are the things that you need to heal. When we get quiet, we find out what our blockages are. What's holding me back? Confidence. I need to have more self-confidence. What's holding me back? The bitterness and anger and rage and sadness that I feel towards a certain person or situation. What's holding me back? The fact that I feel like I'm just always going to be alone forever and never find anybody in my life, which is untrue, right? So we have to allow ourselves to just be. And it doesn't have to be about words being said anymore. I've actually said this a couple of times today already. Closure is a human thing. We all think that we need closure in our lives to feel better because we need outside validation to feel better. Even I've done it. Everybody's done it. We need to write that letter. We need to say those words. We need to shut ourselves off from those people. We have to like have some kind of like tangible effort or something in order to close out a cycle. And really, all you need is the closure within yourself. All you need is to be okay with where you are and loving who you are, right? So a lot of you are tired of waiting. The Emperor could really represent the divine masculine here. And then we have the Lovers and we have the Seven of Pentacles. And a lot of you are tired of waiting on the divine masculine that you've been waiting on. And I want to tell you that you don't have to wait. That's holding you back. Live your life. Do the things that you need to do. Do the things that you want to do. Heal those memories. Because when it comes down to it, the Three of Swords, yes, there is pain. Yes, there is heartache. Yes, there is that actual physical pain within you, right? But the reason why that pain keeps on coming back are all the thoughts. Swords are thoughts, right? Swords are thoughts. So all those memories, that's where the pain resides. So we have to clear our minds and we have to get quiet. And when we get quiet and those things start coming up again, then you can start picking it apart and being like, that feeling, that thought process, that memory is no longer serving me. I release it with love. Right? That's how you recognize it. You put a name to it. Take a deep breath and release it with love. And the next time you get quiet, if it shows up again, do it again. And keep releasing until it's all gone, right? And that's how you heal. That's how you balance things out with the Star on the Three of Swords. That's when you start noticing where your value is. Because you start living your life and you start healing and you stop waiting for someone to show up who has not given you any kind of indication that they're going to show up whatsoever, right? I don't care who it is. Twin flame, soulmate, karmic partner, I don't care who it is. And a lot of times when you stop waiting and you start living, that's when they start to heal. Most of the time, that's the way it works. Most of the time, when you stop waiting on something that you've expected, like your expectations were, I want it to be with this particular person. It's going to be with this person at this, in this situation. And this is the way I want it to look. And this is how it's going to happen. That's what's keeping you stuck. That's what's making you wait. Is you think that it's supposed to be a certain outcome. And you've got your mindset that it's going to be this certain outcome. And that's just the way that it is, right? Except it's not. That's not the way that it is. So, let's see. Knight of Swords. And this is the projection. This is the anger. This is like, I need to have closure, so I'm going to say the words. I'm going to do the things, right? Except I feel like instead of you trying to figure out, because we have the Knight of Wands on the Knight of Swords with the Four of Cups. Instead of you sitting here going, how am I going to get closure? How do I get closure? In and out with this person that like, they can't pin down. That's when you're like, oh, I sit quietly with myself. That's how I get closure. I figure out what it is that they're triggering within me. And I realize that I don't need to have all of that projection onto me. Even if the person's not saying, like sometimes the projection is the fact that they're not saying anything to you and you feel rejected. That's a trigger. The rejection of that person not saying anything to you, or the rejection of that person coming in and out, in and out, in and out, or not showing up ever, that's a trigger. You got to find out what it is that they keep on doing for you or doing to you that you need to heal within yourself. What is it that keeps on triggering me? Why do I not feel whole within myself first? Because that's the whole point, right? We preach that. The readers that work with soulmates and twin flames, we preach the fact that if this person isn't giving you what you 100% deserve, and we all know that there are people out there that have not been giving us 100% what we deserve. You don't sit around and wait for that. And I guarantee you, when you stop waiting for a certain person or a certain outcome, something will show up that will shock the shit out of you. And you'll be like, oh, damn. Whether it's the person that you were waiting for and they show up in a whole brand new way, or it's somebody else, brand new. However it works, the only way for that to happen is if you have closure within yourself first and foremost, right? See? It doesn't have to look the way that you thought it was going to. The Hierophant on the High Priestess. These are counterparts, by the way. So, the way you thought things were supposed to go, because the Hierophant talks about tradition, it talks about morals, it talks about values, it talks about our spirituality, it talks about the path that we've chosen to take, right? Higher learning, growth, opportunities, prosperity, all of that rolled into one. But I feel like the ideas of that have changed for a lot of you, Divine Feminines. I feel like you're not stuck on a certain outcome anymore because you're tired of waiting and you're ready to heal all of those memories and all of those projections. And you're recognizing that the more you pull back, the more you pull back and the more you get quiet and you go within, that's where you find your home. You know, the outside world, we often look to the outside world for validation in what's going to make us feel safe and comfortable and sturdy and stable, right? Eight of Pentacles. Because we want it to be in a material way. We think the four walls that are around us is our value. And it's not. It's actually within, right? It's sitting in the Four of Cups and getting really quiet. It's sitting with the High Priestess and getting really quiet. It's recognizing that it wasn't necessarily one aspect of my life that I needed. It was really the aspect of myself that I needed. It wasn't the outside validation that I needed. I needed to validate it within myself. Because I think some of us are still waiting for that stable foundation, for somebody else to build us that stable foundation. And I think that's what we're missing, right? Two of Swords. When you are expecting the outside world or somebody else to give you that validation, you are missing the point. And the Two of Swords, sure, she's forging ahead, but if you see, she's got that wolf behind her that's creeping up. So she's really missing out on the fact that somebody's still kind of the predator behind all of it. So Two of Swords. Yeah. Two of Swords goes to the Four of Swords, goes to the Six of Swords. So how do we figure out what we're missing and what's on the bottom of the deck? Oh yeah, the Three of Cups. Look at that. And Strength. So how do we, you ask me, Betsy, how do I figure out what I'm missing in my life? Well, the Four of Swords for me is the minor arcana of the Hanged Man. You cut ties with the idea of the way you think things are supposed to go, and you look at them in a different way when you're quiet, when you're in meditation mode, when you're sitting in silence with yourself and you're healing, because we have the Three of Swords, we have the Two of Swords, we have the Four of Swords, and then you get some mental balance and clarity, and you can move away from all of those things that were driving you crazy. Like, why do I not feel content? Why am I not healed yet? This has been such a long journey. I'm so tired of not being healed. I'm so tired of going through this healing journey. I get it. It's exhausting. But when you start to realize that the reason why it's so exhausting is that you've been waiting on a certain outcome with a certain person. And A lot of people will argue with me in the fact that you're supposed to wait for your twin flame, or you're supposed to have faith in your twin flame, or you're supposed to do this. And it's not that you lose faith. In fact, you're gaining more faith that when you let go, the universe is going to bring you exactly what you need in exactly that time frame. That the universe is going to say, I see all the work that you've done. I see that now you've brought closure within yourself. I see that you're building a home within your own heart, and you're not seeking validation from the outside world or from a specific person to make you feel safe and secure. I see that you've done all this. Here's a gift, right? But we have to get there first. And what's the gift? Strengthening of bonds. The Three of Cups and the Strength card. Now, the Three of Cups for me represents union. And it doesn't, and this is union with whoever your soul calls you to be in union with, right? It doesn't have to be with a particular person. It's knowing that now you're strong enough to be in this union, and you became whole first. And even if you don't know who you're supposed to be with, Seven of Cups, I feel like it's coming, right? The Page of Cups, the King of Swords, and the Ace of Cups. I'm sorry, the Page of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the Ace of Cups. Because right now what we have is a masculine not really ready to offer much. And then something flips, something switches, right? Because you sat within yourself and you became strong. And you said, I'm going to find something whole within myself. And then I'm going to find something whole within myself, right? Ace of Cups. And then we have the Page of Wands, communication, going in a new direction, turning the Wheel of Fortune, having that transitional change, and no longer deceiving yourself. Right? And there's the Divine Feminine. There you guys are. No longer deceiving yourself, but confident in the love that's coming. And if we allow ourselves to stay in an energy where we're constantly waiting for the Divine Masculine to show up in the way that we want him to show up, instead of recognizing that maybe we need to show up for ourselves first. First and foremost, show up for ourselves. If we stay in the energy of waiting, this wholeness, this cup will never be full. But I feel like a lot of you have recognized and healed so many of the old wounds, and you've pulled all of these swords out, and now those wounds are healing. And even if some of you don't know yet who's coming towards you, you've gone through this transition and you're no longer deceiving yourself that you deserve all of it, right? And it's been in Scorpio season, still Scorpio season. It could be happening in Scorpio season. This is a very transformational time. And that's when you get the call. That's when you get the message. That's when you run into somebody at the gas station and you're like shell shocked by the fact that you met this person, right? That's when the wheel turns. And when I say shell-shocked, I mean shell-shocked. And then by the full moon in Gemini at the end of this month, you're recognizing that things are more at a give and take. Okay, I could go on and on and on, and I'm not going to, because we want to do the Divine Masculine too. But I just want to show you guys the progression of how it can go. If you get out of this energy of waiting and you fill that cup up within yourself on your own, and you recognize that the home is really within myself and I don't need it from another person. I don't need it from another person. I can build my own safety and security. I can build my own home. That's when the energy shifts. That's when you get shocked. That's when the person that the universe has been waiting to give you this whole time shows up. Because you stopped expecting it from one you stopped expecting a particular outcome to happen. And you gave the universe faith. You said, I have faith that you're going to bring me the person that's supposed to be in my life. right? Okay. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy how it works. People ask me all the time, why do we have to go through all this? Well, when you're called to be a person to show the purest form of love to humanity, that's a big job. That's a big job. So you have to find the purest form of love within yourself first before you can teach humanity how to do it, right? That's just the way it goes. I feel like my camera's off-center. If the audio and the video aren't synced up, I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so we already have a divine masculine energy. It just flew right out. Success and growth. Nice. The Eight of Wands. So, some of you could be hearing from your divine masculine, whoever that is. Now, if you have a certain idea of a divine masculine in mind, it's very possible. So, I'm going to actually be speaking directly to the divine masculine in this reading. So, divine masculines, this is the Eight of Wands, success and growth. So, you are moving forward in a direction pretty quickly. I almost feel like you didn't have a choice in the matter. I almost feel like you didn't have a choice in the matter. I feel like the energy of the universe is pushing the divine masculine forward right now. And I want you guys to go with the flow. I feel like a lot of you are really going with the flow. But I also think that there's still a lot that needs to be karmically balanced out. First card out is the Justice card, and that talks about the karmic balance. And I think this forward movement is really helping you balance karmic stuff out, right? So we have Justice, and Venus is in retrograde in Libra right now. And then we have Temperance. Look at that. Sagittarius season. Jupiter just moved into Sag. And then we have the Eight of Swords and the Star. So some of you are so stuck in your egos, so stuck in your heads that it's really, really hard for you to feel the healing aspects right now. And if you're not healing, it's because I feel like you need to feel a little bit more. You need to open up your heart chakra a little bit more. Don't dull the pain. Don't try and work so hard that you don't have to think about it, because you want more out of life. The Three of Wands. And what is it that you want? You want that connection. The one that you know is there. The one that you've been waiting for, but because of circumstances in your life that really you do have control over, but you feel like is beyond your control, that's what makes you barricaded. That's what puts you in the Eight of Swords. Because situations and people don't actually control us. We just allow them to. I use that word a lot, allow. You are only in control of how you react to certain situations and people. If you continue to give your energy, the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, if you continue to give your energy to maybe feeling guilty about the situations that you're in, because you know that you have to walk away from certain things, and you have to do it because you're not emotionally attached to these things anymore. But there's this guilt factor there. You know, that guy in the Seven of Swords keeps turning around and looking at the dog that's laying there, and he's like, oh man, I'm like just leaving this dog there alone by himself. But you have to understand that not only are you being taken care of by the universe, all of the situations and the people around you are also being taken care of by the universe. And when you start to follow your soul's growth, and when you start to get that karmic balance in your life, and you choose to walk away from things, not in a guilty way, but in a way that's feeding you, right, Divine Masculine, that's feeding your soul. once you start to walk away from things that you don't resonate with anymore, and you go towards the things that are feeding your soul, that have always fed your soul, that you know that you were divinely made for, that's when the healing occurs. That's when the balance occurs, right? Temperance. You have to come to a place of faith and trust that no matter what area of your life you feel like is holding you back, you're actually allowing it to hold you back. I know that sounds really easy and very simple, but I am here to tell you that it's not easy, nor is it simple to walk away from things that you have invested so much time and effort into, right? It's not easy. But if you're dying inside, that's not what the universe is not here to make you miserable. The universe is telling you that it's time for you to feed what your soul is telling you to feed yourself with, right? And that goes along with what the divine feminine's going through, where they have to recognize that they're whole within as well. And I feel like you've been on this journey for so long, like sitting back, hoping that something's going to change. And I feel like that happened. I feel like something happened that clicked. And then we have the Chariot and the World. So movement forward, a lot of movement forward. And knowing that you have to complete a cycle in your life and that it's all happening in divine timing and you actually have no control over it. No matter which way you look at it, because a lot of times the divine masculine wants to be able to control the energy. And that's why they pull back or they ghost or, you know, whatever. It's like, no, I'm going to control the way that this relationship goes. I'm going to control the way that this all plays out. When in reality, you have absolutely no control of the way that it plays out. And sometimes when the energy shifts and the divine feminine says, I'm done waiting, that's the catalyst for you. That's the catapult forward. That's the, oh, damn, what did I do? Karmic retribution. I don't want you to sit up in your head and constantly worry about things from the past. What did I do wrong? I regret, right? The Eight of Swords is a self-imposed imprisonment of the mind, meaning you're sitting there, you've blindfolded yourself on purpose, you've got your feet to the fire, and you're constantly trying to logically figure things out when this isn't logical at all. When in reality, what needs to happen is your mind needs to shut off. You need to start feeling things instead of emotion, because the Seven of Swords can be emotional detachment for self-preservation purposes, right? But sometimes you can do emotional detachment without even having, you know, with like so much for self-preservation that you just shut off completely. And it's time for you to start feeling this instead of thinking about it. Like no more thinking about what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What do I need to do to fix it? Etc., etc., etc. So the Star is all about healing the aspects within yourself, recognizing that you living your best life and having to walk away from certain situations or things in your life is not the end of the world. It's just the beginning, right? Ace of Wands on the Star. And again, I'm not lecturing. This is not me lecturing. This is me saying, this is how I did it. How did I get through all of the situations? How did I keep pushing forward? I fed my soul, right? And yes, I have been in touch with my divine masculine within me. I can even those energies out anytime I need to. The divine masculine has to get in touch with his divine feminine side and recognize that he has to feel things and then see how that's an opportunity to push forward, to move forward. So 3 of Wands. I really hope the audio and the videos are syncing up for this. That would be such a shame if it's not. 3 of Wands. You guys want more out of life, you know? The 3 of Wands is like waiting for your shifts to come in, waiting for something to happen, waiting for that 2 of Cups to show back up. I think that there's a lot of regret here. If somebody walked away from you, Divine Masculine, if your Divine Feminine had to walk away, I think that was the starting point to something better in, you know, in your existence. Doesn't mean the connection's gone, right? What is the Lovers? Yeah, it's kind of like a rebuilding, like a starting off point. The 3 of Pentacles on the Lovers. And the 3 of Pentacles is like a teacher and student card. So I feel like if there was a lot of teaching on one end, there was a lot of learning from the other person, but it also needs to be the other way around. It needs to get to the 6 of Pentacles, where it is more of a give and take, and it's not one side doing more than the other. It's really like making a valiant effort to be on both sides. But it's also about starting from the very beginning and having to rebuild the foundation. But in order for this to happen, you have to feel it. You have to have the feelings. You have to heal all of the hurts. You have to heal all of the stuff. You have to remove yourself from situations that are just killing you inside, that aren't give and take. You know, where are you placing your energy? The 6 of Pentacles, I often say, where are you placing your energy? Are you giving it to people that recognize you, that allow you to feed your soul, or are you giving it to people in situations that don't really give a shit about you? And the cards are asking you to walk away from those situations. Spirit saying it's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to close a chapter in your life in order for you to find that balance and find that healing. And the only way to do it is to get out of your head and to heal and to feel it, because we know what you want. And you'd be lying to yourself if you said, no, that door's closed. Because the Page of Cups, the 4 of Wands, the 7 of Pentacles, there's the 8 of Wands again, and the Universe, the Judgment card with Strength, and the 5 of Pentacles. Somebody put you out and you're being asked to have inner strength. Somebody made you feel like you're lacking in some way, or you're making yourself feel like you're lacking in some way. Maybe you put your own self out here. But the Page of Cups and the 4 of Wands, this is saying, I want to have that stableness, right? This is a mirroring effect, because the Divine Feminine wants the same thing. But what did I say to the Divine Feminine? They have to find that stability within themselves. They have to feel at home within themselves, not because of the 4 walls around them, not because of the people that are living within those 4 walls with them. It's really all about, where's the stability within yourself? Because when you find that home inside, you can live anywhere and you can be around anybody. And the 7 of Pentacles, you're waiting for some kind of communication from somebody, whether it's your Divine Feminine or you're waiting for some kind of movement in your life. And again, like I said to the Divine Feminine, if you sit within this waiting and hoping and praying and desiring and wishing that you get some kind of reaction from someone and it doesn't come, the universe is saying, I'm taking care of you now. You don't need to have outside validation to feel whole and to feel stable and to feel at home. You don't need that outside validation. You know, I've told people about like my past before, and there was one point where I was so poor that I was actually like living out of my car at one point, and I had 2 little babies. I had 2, like they were maybe 4 and 2 or 5 and 3. There was one point where I was living out of my car. There was one point where my car was broken, but we lived in a very tiny apartment, and we had to walk to Catholic Charities to get food and walk it back. Like, go to the food pantry once a week to get food. There were weeks where I would eat just like rice and beans. Like, I was so poor. But even back then, if somebody would have looked at me and said, it doesn't matter how much money you have or what your outside world looks like, as long as you feel safe and secure within yourself, you're at home. If somebody would have said that to me back then, I feel like my attitude and my lifestyle would have changed dramatically. Because I thought that I needed validation from the outside world to feel good about myself or to feel good about certain aspects of my life. And so even at that point, like, even if I were super poor right now, I feel safe and secure and at home. And that's the whole point. That you don't need to wait for outside validation. Because once you get that validation, once you find the strength within yourself, that you're not lacking. Once you get the clarity that you're not lacking, right? The sun shines and you see that you're not lacking, really. You have all the inner strength within. Once you recognize all of that, that's when the miracle occurs. That's when things start happening. That's when the chariot and the universe right here is saying, or the card, spirit, is telling you that it's like, it's in your grasp. It's in your reach. It's right there. It's waiting for you to make the decision to heal yourself, right? To move forward in a way. So, Divine Masculine, great reading. I really love this. I hope you guys are all doing well. Some really quick announcements. I did add a few more of the 6-month forecasts for 2019 on my website. There are still some 12-month forecasts available as well. Those will all be scheduled in December, but there's only a limited amount. I'm not offering any more. After this is gone, it's gone. I just wasn't sure. Like, I offered a certain amount, and then I recognized that I would have a little bit more time, so I offered a little bit more. But once these are gone, like last time, these are gone. I will not bring them back again. So get those while you can. And all of the soulmate readings by sign will be out this week. And I love you guys so much. And thanks for your patience with this. And I thank you for all of the emails and stuff. I know a lot of you really missed me last week not coming on. I just needed to take a time out. I needed to take a break because there have been a lot of things going on. So I appreciate your patience. I love you all. Bye.